Senator Chuck Grassley, 89 years old, this man is. Sometimes it's hard to believe until you hear, by the way, how slowly he talks, and then you realize, yep, he's 89, that's correct. Chuck Grassley unveiled an absolutely bombshell FBI document that FBI Director Chris Wray tried to hide, not just from us, which is bad enough, but hide from Congress, who is a constitutional authority to oversee the executive branch. Chris Wray tried to hide this from Grassley. Grassley finally got his hands on it, and I will let Grassley explain this for himself. Take a listen to this.
Let me assist for the purposes of more transparency on this subject. The 1023 produced to the House committees redacted reference that the foreign national who allegedly bribed Joe and Hunter Biden allegedly has audio recordings of his conversation with them. 17 such recordings. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 15 audio recordings of phone calls between him and Hunter Biden. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 2 audio recordings of phone calls between him and then Vice President Joe Biden. These recordings were allegedly kept as a sort of insurance policy for the foreign national in case that he got into a tight spot. The 1023 also indicates that then Vice President Joe Biden may have been involved in bereavement employing Hunter Biden. Based on the facts known to the Congress and the public, it's clear that the Justice Department, the FBI, haven't nearly had the same laser focus on the Biden family. Special Counsel Jack Smith has used a recording against former President Trump. Well, what is U.S. Attorney Weiss doing with respect to these alleged Joe and Hunter Biden recordings that are apparently relevant to the high-stakes bribery scheme?
My favorite phrase from that entire speech, that entire Senate floor speech, is when Grassley says the foreign national kept these recordings as a little insurance policy in case he got into a tight spot. Yes, that's what's known as an extortion scheme, and one enters into an extortion scheme or tries to propagate an extortion scheme if one has convinced someone else to do something wrong. It only works, in fact, if you've convinced someone to do something wrong. In this case, if the Ukrainian has convinced Joe Biden when he was vice president and Hunter Biden, the vice president's son, to do something not only wrong, but probably illegal, and certainly something that would disqualify Joe Biden from office. So an FD 1023, this is a document that comes from the FBI, and it's essentially where you take notes on or document witness testimony, right? So there is a witness who testified that this Ukrainian foreign national had these recordings, 15 of Hunter Biden and 2 of Joe Biden. Get this. Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, this is one of Trump's worst personnel choices, redacted the part of this 1023, this document, this form, this FBI form, that said that these audio recordings exist. Chris Wray tried to hide this from the United States Congress and from the American people, even though this form shows that the current president of the United States is a compromised individual. A compromised individual. So let's just step back here for a second and look at the enormity of what this is. And by the way, give me one good reason why Joe Biden shouldn't be impeached here. One good reason why Joe Biden shouldn't be impeached. So if we go back to right before 2020, when the Hunter Biden laptop story was broken by the New York Post, and the New York Post link was then designated by the federal government, we assume, and of course by big tech, who are controlled by the federal government, as a link that cannot be shared. It was designated as misinformation, disinformation. It was roundly condemned by that letter of over 50 former intelligence officials saying that it looked like Russian disinformation. It was censored so that the American people couldn't read the truth about what was on Hunter Biden's laptop, couldn't read that email where Hunter Biden said that he'd hold the money for the so-called big guy, his dad, Joe Biden, the sitting vice president who was sitting vice president when the email was sent, who was at the time that the laptop surfaced, running for president of the United States, 17% of the American people, 17% of Democrats who voted for Biden said that had they known about the Hunter Biden laptop story, they would have reconsidered casting their vote for Joe Biden. Perhaps they wouldn't have voted for him had they known the level of his corruption. That's a pretty significant number. It's clearly a game-changing number, a number that would have impacted the outcome of the election. So Facebook and Twitter, pre-Elon Musk Twitter, Facebook under Mark Zuckerberg and Twitter under Jack Dorsey censored this New York Post link. We weren't even allowed to send it in DM. I couldn't DM it to a friend couldn't DM it to me. We couldn't even pass this around privately, let alone post it publicly. But if the American people had known about this, it would have changed the outcome of the election. So this is how, if I'm any of these Republican candidates, this is how I run against Joe Biden. I first remind people of what happened in 2020. I remind people that a portion of Democrats, a solid portion of Democrats, would have changed their vote away from Joe Biden had they realized the extent of the corruption. And I say, listen, now there's proof that this was even worse than we thought. That when Joe Biden, a long time ago, threatened to withhold U.S. aid to Ukraine on the basis of the Ukrainian investigation into Burisma, it wasn't just about protecting his corrupt son. In fact, watch this video. This video is from a couple years ago when Joe Biden was vice president. This is when he threatens the prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, threatens the Ukrainians to fire him and to stop investigating Burisma. We all at the time thought it was just because Hunter was profiting a little bit. But now watch this. Watch it.
Our team or others to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Well, son of a gun, you got fired. Would you look at that? I see this video and I just look at it a little bit different. I see it just in a little bit different context now, in a little bit different light. Suddenly, it's not just, as I assumed when this first surfaced a couple years ago, I assumed, he's just protecting Hunter, his corrupt son, because Hunter was part of Burisma and he wanted Hunter to continue to profit. He didn't want to bring that scandal into the light. So he leveraged his position as vice president to threaten the Ukrainians just to protect his son, which is bad enough. It's a disqualifying offense enough. But now that looks like nothing compared to what this video shows us now. Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.